Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a project that, it can seem a little intimidating, but it's so rewarding. We're talking about rebuilding the legendary Autolite 2100 carburetor. This is something you can absolutely do, and we're going to show you exactly how to get the heart of your engine running like new again.
So if you've got a classic Ford, maybe a Jeep, or an AMC with one of these babies under the hood, you are in exactly the right place. Let's get that thing running perfectly.
All right, so here's our game plan. We've broken it down into 5 simple stages. We'll start with prep, then disassembly, cleaning, reassembly, and we'll finish up with the final tuning on the car. This is your roadmap, from start to finish.
Okay, first things first, preparation. And I'm telling you, spending a little time here is the secret sauce. It's what separates a smooth, easy job from a weekend of pure frustration. Here are the 2 most important things you can possibly do before you even pick up a wrench. Number 1, get your phone out and take pictures. I mean, tons of them. Every spring, every linkage, every little clip, from every single angle. You will thank yourself later, I promise. Number 2, grab an old cookie sheet. It's the perfect workspace. It keeps all those tiny screws and check balls from rolling off into another dimension. Seriously, no more hunting around on a greasy floor.
All right, now for the fun part, taking it all apart. We're going to walk through the right way to do this, but just as important, we're going to cover what not to do, because some mistakes are really hard to come back from.
Now, there's a method to the madness here. We're going to work from the top down. This keeps things organized and stops little parts from, falling into the guts of the carburetor. So you start with the top plate and all the choke stuff. Then the float and the needle come out. After that, you'll grab the main jets. Then you'll flip it over to get the power valve, and you'll finish up with the accelerator pump and the idle mixture screws. Okay, listen up, because this is probably the most critical warning in this whole explainer. Unless the throttle shaft, the throttle valves, or the choke shaft are completely seized up or rusted solid, just leave them alone. Seriously, getting them back in, aligned perfectly without damaging anything, it's a nightmare. Trust me on this one. You're better off just cleaning them in place.
All right, here's a quick mental checklist while you're taking things apart. First, those 2 little idle mixture screws. Before you take them out all the way, gently turn them in until they just barely touch the bottom and count how many turns it takes. Write that number down. It's your golden ticket for getting the engine to start later. Also, once the top of the carb is off, don't flip it upside down. It'll rain tiny parts you didn't even know were in there. If you have a brass float, give it a little shake next to your ear. Hear any sloshing? That means it's leaking and you need a new one. And last but not least, don't throw away a single old part until the car is running perfectly. You might need to compare your new parts to the old ones.
We have now arrived at the most important stage of this entire project. I am not exaggerating when I say this. 99% of carburetor problems are either solved or created right here in the cleaning stage. This is where it all happens.
So, here's what you're going to need. You've got your basics, of course, a good carb cleaner, some hot water, compressed air, and some brushes. But here's the secret weapon, the real pro tip. A set of guitar strings. High E, B, G, get a few different sizes. They are absolutely perfect for cleaning out those tiny little passages where fuel turns into varnish. They're strong, they're flexible, and they won't snap off inside like a piece of wire might. A total game changer.
The cleaning process itself is pretty straightforward, but you have to be thorough. First, soak all the metal parts for about 2 hours. Don't go much longer, especially with aluminum, or it can start to discolor. Then, wash everything off with hot water to get rid of all those chemicals. Now the big one. Use compressed air to blow out every single hole and passageway. And I mean every one. If you miss one, the whole rebuild could be for nothing. Finally, take a nice flat file and just gently run it across the mating surfaces to make sure they're not warped. Any warping can cause nasty leaks.
Okay, if you take away one thing, just one thing from this entire explainer, let it be this. Do not, under any circumstances, use any kind of gasket sealant or RTV. Never. Ever. Why? Because modern gasoline will just dissolve it. It turns it into little sticky bits that will go directly into those tiny passages you just spent forever cleaning. You'll be right back where you started, or probably worse. The new gaskets are designed to seal on their own. Trust them.
All right, with a pile of sparkling clean parts, it's time to put this beautiful puzzle back together. Now we're going to focus on a few key components that need precise settings to work right.
So let's talk about the power valve. This little guy's job is to give the engine an extra shot of fuel when you step on the gas hard. The number on it, like 8.5, tells you at what level of engine vacuum it opens up. Now here's a little insider tip. A lot of rebuild kits just throw in a generic number 7 valve. But for a lot of small block Fords, bumping up to an 8 or an 8.5 can really wake the engine up and get rid of hesitation. It's worth looking into.
Remember how we counted the turns on the idle screws on the way out? Well, for reassembly, here's your magic starting point. Gently screw them all the way in till they just touch the seat. No cranking on them, and then back them out 1.5 turns. This is a fantastic baseline that should get the engine to fire right up and idle well enough for you to do the final tuning. Okay, setting the float level is a delicate dance. You make adjustments by gently bending the little metal tab that touches the needle. Never ever bend the float arm itself. And whatever you do, do not put pressure on that little rubbery Viton tip on the needle. It's super fragile, and if you damage it, your carb is going to flood. Game over. Oh, and if you have one of those old brass floats, a great way to check for pinhole leaks is to dunk it in some hot water. If you see a stream of bubbles, it's toast. So, how do you know if you've got the right size main jets in there? Well, your engine will send you a report card. It's called a spark plug. After you've driven the car for a bit, pull a plug and look at the tip. If it's a nice, toasty, tan to light brown color, you nailed it. Perfect. If it's chalky white, you're running lean, not enough fuel, and you need bigger jets. And if it's all black and sooty, you're running rich, too much fuel, and you need to go down a jet size. The plugs don't lie.
We are on the home stretch. The carb is rebuilt, it's back on the car, and it's running. Now it's time for the final adjustments. This is what separates an engine that just runs from an engine that runs beautifully.
So here's your final tuning checklist. First, hook up a fuel pressure gauge and make sure you're getting between 6 and 7 psi. Any higher than that can actually push fuel past the needle and flood the engine. Next, with the engine all warmed up, you're going to adjust those idle mixture screws. The goal here is to get the highest, most steady reading on a vacuum gauge. That'll also be where the engine idles the smoothest. Finally, you set the fast idle speed. That's for when the choke is on, using a tachometer. Just set it to whatever your shop manual says, usually somewhere around 12 to 1500 RPM.
So at the end of the day, just remember that a carburetor isn't just some random part. It's a precision instrument. It's the heart of your engine, mixing the air and fuel it needs to breathe. When you take the time to do this right, you're not just fixing an old part. You're basically giving your engine a new lease on life. So the only question left is yours ready?